Thanks for stopping by our booth and checking us out. So yeah, we're here in the Coleco booth with Chris from Coleco over here.
Step right up.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system. The Coleco Chameleon, which is our new cartridge-based console that we're coming out with. It's an FPGA ARM-based system.
Remember when we couldn't launch a Kickstarter because we didn't have a prototype? Well, here it is, folks.
Why is Super Mario World running?
It's an FPGA ARM-based system.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system that we definitely designed. Ladies and gentlemen.
Why are there Super Nintendo controllers coming out of that Jaguar shell?
Here it is, folks, ladies and gentlemen.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system. Basically, a lot of these were disabled. These games weren't made for these things. And it seems like people always want to start working these to try to play the game. So we just thought it would be easiest. We just hardwired in some SNES kind of third-party controllers to play the games.
The perfect reason to hardwire a SNES controller, but no LED.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system. So Legends is one of the games that we've got on the system. Legend was a Super NES game, but it was a pretty rare game. A lot of people never heard of it. I'd never heard of it.
Sign me up. I'm programmed to fall for bullshit.
A lot of these games that they've kind of brought back in Super NES form or Genesis form or whatever, but we're also trying to bring those games to maybe a bigger audience of people that don't have a Genesis still in their household, because most people don't.
That's right, most people don't have a Sega Genesis.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system.
We definitely have a prototype. Step right
up.
It's
an FPGA ARM-based system. The Coleco Chameleon, which is our new cartridge-based console that we're coming out with.
Step right up. It's definitely not an SNES. Step right up.
So, what's obviously happening here is you have run out of time to try to save your project. And you have decided for some fucking childish, idiotic, dumbass fucking reason that you're going to George Costanza this shit and put a Super Nintendo in your fucking console. And you thought nobody would care or notice or even understand. Maybe you were just praying with your fingers crossed that you would get through this somehow and get to that fucking Kickstarter, because you know that you can't do a Kickstarter without a prototype.
It's an FPGA ARM-based system.
Step right up and remember to check out our Kickstarter on February 26th.
Hey guys, this is Mike Kennedy. We're here setting up the morning of Toy Fair. Here's our prototype cartridge. This particular cartridge has got about 5 or 6 games on it. And we're going to insert it into the slot, and we're going to set up the rest of our display here. But here we go. You can see the cartridge connectors in there. It's an FPGA ARM-based system. Delicately push this in, and here we go. We'll be turning it on here in a minute.
Don't judge our skills.
They slapped a SNES 2 or SNES Mini, whatever you want to call it, board into the Jaguar case. They force-fit it into there and said, hey, look, this is our prototype. This is what it can do. The first red flag was the cartridge. The cartridge looked off, but then when they showed what was sticking out of that thing, there was no doubt in my mind. I've had an SNES 2. I know exactly where the plugs go.
You are scumbags, and I hope you go to jail. I hope that all this blows up in your stupid fucking faces. And it will, because you're not going to get through Kickstarter with this shit. This bullshit console. This fucked up reproduction of an Atari Jaguar with Coleco Chameleon, pasted on there like a little arts and crafts project, and then your Super Nintendo gutted and slammed in the back of this thing with some tape spun around it. Are you fucking serious?
Guys, please don't tell me this is a mini Super Nintendo stuffed inside a Jaguar shell. So the the Coleco Chameleon folks did not respond directly to that, but to someone else saying, well, we're showing off Super Nintendo games here because a lot of the early titles will be, Super Nintendo games, and we have the FPGA core done. Doesn't even refute the fact that there's a lot of damning evidence that this was just a Super Nintendo Super Nintendo board shoved inside the Jaguar. Didn't refute it. I don't think you can deny it.
Didn't deny it.
I don't think you can deny it. You can't.
I hope that the FBI or the local authorities or the Security and Exchange Commission or whoever the fuck needs to looks into this shit and puts a stop to what you're doing. Because what you're doing is fraud. You are committing a crime.
We're going to be doing a Kickstarter here in about 2 weeks, February 26th. And we just debuted our early bird's price of $135. That's with a packing game and a controller and the system. And it's an FPGA ARM-based system.